He's a headline podcast, and Jason.
And I'm Karen. That is so cool.
Yeah. She make it in time for this today's broadcast, so I'm going to remember when you publish this. I'll interview probably tomorrow afternoon.
Do you have
I got questions. I had a couple of those in mind, but yeah, so look forward to that in the next couple of days or so. And I also just wanted to mention we got some really good entries for our zombie costume contest. Some amazing ones, except almost none of the entries have you guys holding up signs with messages to us. And it's got to have a sign or it doesn't count. So resubmit those signs, or I think that some people probably just recently dressed up in really cool costumes. But you got to dress up again. Or just do Photoshop, I don't know what's
Could be holding back to the newspaper.
yeah, I guess so. But you can hold it to the right. I can't remember.
Yes.
And the deadlines are midnight for that, so we got some time.
It's really fun.
I don't have a lot of preamble today. Let's just get right into it.
Attention shoppers, Vidcast top 5 in 5, 4, 3, 2.
All right, so today's top 5 highlights for season 3, episode 2, Sick.
Sick. All right, do you like it?
Yeah, I did 4 gaps.
I give 4 brains. That's out of 5 people.
Relatively the same.
Yeah.
Gaps and brains are about the same. Yeah, we wrongly thought that this was going to be about Andrew being sick and Julie being
She wasn't even in it. Did I think that was what it was about?
I did. I mean, because she was sick, and the next episode felt sick, I thought it was going to be about her.
I thought it was going to be about Herschel sort of being sick. It sort of was about Herschel being sick, but actually kind of got
We said it was going to have some sick shit in it, and it definitely did. But yeah, I mean, why would we call it because of Herschel? I mean, I think maybe also because Andrew, Rick's soul is getting sick.
Yeah,
soul sick,
yeah. And I think at one point somebody said, I forget the story, that somebody said, one of the prisoners said something about sick shit, like some sick shit.
Oh, so we're not, I was really about that. That's why I felt sick, because it was disgusting. My favorite one, by the way, was when Lori said, what did she say? Do I look like I'm worried? And Daryl said, you look disgusting.
So
you.
yeah.
I know that's my face.
Yeah.
I like that.
Put the humor.
Okay, I'm going to go first. Is that right? Okay, no, fine. No, I always tell you to go first. This time I'm going first. In the spirit of Rick doing whatever the hell he wants. I have an axe right here. So the doesn't sound quite the same. My 5 is just the whole Lori and Rick dynamic. It was just totally clear in this episode that Rick is done with their relationship.
It's so sad.
Because what really made it clear was the very last scene where Lori came up, she was sort of trying to hint that, well, we're going to do divorce now, let's basically work it out. And Rick didn't respond. And then she said, he said, you're not a bad mother. And she goes, oh, does that mean what about being a bad wife? And then she said, like, I thought you were coming out here talking to me about us, but maybe there's nothing to talk about. He didn't answer that either. He just put his hand on her shoulder without looking her in the eye and said something like, we're all thankful for what you did, which sort of just self-raising that is like, I just want to root now, I'm not husband anymore, and thank you. Yeah, and then you walk off.
Yeah.
And again, the writing in that is so much better than if it was just an explicit conversation about their relationship, which is what she was trying to have. But
it tells you everything you need to know. The fact that he was getting at arm's length and he put his hand on her shoulder, he was reaching out as far as arm's length. He didn't even look at her, and it's just heartbreaking.
It's not heartbreaking that they didn't explicitly say it,
right,
it's just that distance.
Yeah, I agree.
Now, I've still been a little bit confused about why Rick is so upset with her. I mean, I think it's just because he realized that I think that moment that was on the finale is when she turned away from him after he said kill Shane. After.
Well, remember, it was he suggested that it wasn't that made her recoil. It was that he said that Carl killed his own Shane.
Yeah, I don't think that's true. I think that she did recoil at that, but she was in shock the whole time. She wasn't accepting of it, and I think she was just disgusted. Well, it wasn't totally clear, but my sense was that she wasn't happy about it. She wasn't happy that he killed Shane. Even though
maybe we don't know what happened because it happened after that moment. Like maybe in the 6 months, I mean, theoretically it's been about 6 months since we've seen it. In those ensuing 6 months, maybe she treated him really badly.
Well, she was already treating him badly, and I think they've kind of hinted at it in these first 2 episodes that it was about Shane. Especially what I loved in this episode was when she said, "Oh, the prisoners have weapons." He's like, "I was going to gun," and she's like, "Well, your options." And he goes, "Kill him." That's the only option. And then she's like, "All right, I fully support that." And he goes, "Yeah, you say that now." And it's like, "You said that to me once before." I started cracking up with that. See, I wonder if I wonder if last season the writers didn't really have a handle on the fact that Lori was pissing some people off and was jerking her around. Maybe they did, but I think also that the audience had such a strong response to her. It might be surprised writers not really playing to it.
Well, also maybe this has less to do even with her as it does with his transformation into.
I think part of it.
Yeah, maybe that's that.
And Ramirez was already kind of in trouble, but he was so understanding when he first found out that Shane and her had an affair. But now that all this stuff's happening, he's harder. But I really think that her turning away, not supporting that moment, really needed it. I think now maybe he is kind of upset about Shane. And I also wonder now if Shane was around, would Rick just say, "You know what? She's all yours, man. I don't want anymore. Go for it. She's something to keep her safe."
Seems like that's what he would say. Although, it's such a sad thing. She's like she's popping it.
I know. I mean, like he said, I'm here, and I have a feeling. Well, I can say that because this kid, he'll take care of it. He doesn't know that. I still think that he'll protect her, and he just doesn't want to be with her.
It's to show that these questions, and I think it's to show that there's room for debate.
Sometimes it's not strength. Sometimes it feels, it hasn't felt like hazy writing. But I think in this case, because marriage relationship can be so complex, this does feel like
and you don't really know what goes on behind closed doors with 2 people, and maybe they're doing a little bit too.
You're next.
Number 5 is actually funny. Compliment to writing. I said I'm really enjoying writing. When I actually listed that woman between Rick and Lori as one of the examples, but I also listed when Rick tells Len not to leave her side, guys. Finally, my turn. I love that the writing is so good at this point. They can make it very spare, and they don't have to spell everything out and let the viewers solve the puzzle themselves. And I appreciate when the writers don't insult our intelligence and assume we're smart to figure out what's going on. And I really like that. So it's a nice little writing. Don't leave her side, guys. If you would
just add a little bit,
right. That was more meant, right?
Wait, there's something about that scene I like too. Just not only is it good writing now, but it also shows they have a short hand with each other now. They've been together.
Yeah, exactly.
In that scene, it would not be but they're walking around each other. You know, in episode 1 when they first go through the house and later the prison, they just point and even now you can see how people they are in comparison to the prisoners.
Yeah,
they have a short. And then for I pay a little bit more attention to the title sequence this time, and it's kind of interesting when they show they show Andrew Lincoln's name, there's a sheriff's badge. When they show Roy holding there's a bug, but then just calling over some bullets. So they make a lot about her
Interesting.
They show Norman Reedus' arrows. Stephen Young pocket watch, which is personal watch for 8 years. And then when they show Lauren Cohan, there's a great sounds. What does that mean?
Oh, that's interesting.
I wonder if they're just messing with us, or I don't know why.
Yeah,
I guess it could be.
Yeah, mom.
What I wanted to believe is just she's gonna die, or even though that's true, not her mess. But you're right, that could be her mom.
Yeah, she lost a lot of people.
What else would they have her? A horse? I don't know. Holistic. Yeah, probably. Chandler Riggs, they showed Turkey Rose. What was the story of Turkey Rose?
Oh, the Turkey Rose. Yeah, it was the Trail Tears, and that was actually remember Carol and Sandy found Eva Turkey Rose and told the first at the sign of maybe finding
yeah, and then they showed it like focused out to the background of the house and then I grew up and they showed shadows under the door. I don't know if that's oh yeah, 2 shadows. Could be those are the ones that had big titles. Melissa, I forgot the name of this girl. Yeah, Melissa Bride just had sort of like a starting one, so did Irene Singleton.
Yup.
So that's number 4.
Okay, number 4 is especially get to see her from Lori, and then springs up, and it was just a good sweet.
Yeah, classic genre stare.
Yeah, it was great. I didn't expect it. I was in the moment, and then springs up. I kind of expected it, and I didn't realize it. I mean, people always bring that happening.
No.
But did you notice they flashed on Carl for just a second in that moment he was going to put it?
Yes.
He was ready to clock Herschel.
That was great, and it made me feel like a couple things in this episode. I mean, I'm torn between, come on, keep that line. Oh yeah, that is becoming a very useful resource. He's a lethal, dangerous guy, and you want to side. I felt better about him being there. Like others, they're safe.
You can for everyone. You can all kinds of stuff. And
you kill 2 walkers along the way, deal. Yeah, so when I was talking with Lisa, and they're like, Herschel's breathing funny, and I don't know, and like, well, at least you're not giving mouth. Oh no! And so they're watching this movie. Come on.
By the way, these days you're not supposed to give mouth to mouth. For CPR, you're only supposed to do just
lawsuits.
No, actually, yeah, they're saying that most people don't do it right. So,
we're gonna figure that out. I think it was the zombie apocalypse happened in 2010.
I was never.
My number 3 is just this is a good one, but it's all about the prisoners. I especially love the irony of these hardened criminals being kind of freaked out by the people very first scene. They're like, fuck, they just like got the guys laid off, and now they're killing these. Or I think they're killing these dead in that scene, I don't remember, but they drag it out and let the prisoners with their jaws open.
Yeah. Think about it, in their perspective, it was just these crazy people came into the cafeteria, chopped off the guy's legs, opened the door, they got the cart, and then they're gone. Like, what just happened?
And that's part of them sitting over their mouths open is Herschel's
like, what? You guys look like rescuers to me. No, they don't.
Yeah, where do you come from? And then the whole thing about them, when they went out to the cell block and they did their sort of gang violence version of killing zombies, it wasn't very effective. It was good. I thought it was a little bit almost kind of goofy. Like, would they all really ignore Rick's just very clear instructions to go for the head? Yeah, I mean, I could buy that point, but I guess to make it seem more they had them all just do that.
Like they were going like they were in a big bag with a bunch of shivs,
Yeah.
They were just a lot.
It was good. I liked it. I'm surprised that 3 of the prisoners are already dead and there's only 2 left.
I know, which I kind of like. They didn't drag it out.
Yeah, they're moving things along.
What was his name?
Although it makes me feel like one of the things about the comedy they have, but I don't think about that. What guy's
The
name?
long-haired guy.
Prisoner guy?
Yeah, long-haired
Oh,
guy.
that's Axel.
Is it Axel? Kind of guy who got shady in the head.
Oh, no. The one who got shady in the head is Tomas.
Tomas, thank you. Tomas. I thought they dragged on Tomas first.
Yeah.
I thought he was like machine. I was like,
Right,
oh,
right.
God. But I loved it. No, he didn't spare any time. They just
Yeah.
right there with machine.
Yeah, and Rick coming in and sort of taking over. There's kind of shades of them coming to the farm and sort of budging into Herschel's space, but he's much harder about it. But I guess the difference is that, I mean, with Herschel trying to negotiate with these guys, he's like, I'm going to but I guess because they're criminals, that's one big sort of difference. And I was wondering if, because Rick used to be a cop, how much that informs his whole way of dealing with these guys. And so much has changed, but that's probably part of it too. I wonder if it makes him be more pessimistic.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. That's something I want to talk about. That's one of the other ones.
Okay. I got just a few more on this because they're going to I thought it was a little unusual for the prisoners to be surprised that society's crumbled and to expect their
They
families
walked away
okay.
with 10 months and all they've seen are robbers.
Right.
And
So you
so,
might at least get the idea that maybe something
You
wrong
decided
there.
on
And everything for you,
yeah.
and you're like, I wonder if you're 100 years old, and never comes to visiting everything or stuff like that. And Rick said, no phones, no computer. I was thinking, no phone, no light, no more cars. And then, yes, right in the moment, that's right. And then I think we have a number pile in Walking Dead for Prison Mercy, something pile. Here's Earl Randall from last season. And then here's the new one, Axel.
I'm going to kill you. Doctor, you're going to wait the God, they were. Please, my God.
See, one more. Here's one more.
oh, shit, you guys, it's crazy sometimes. Not last your phone. That's really they all inevitably sound like Gomers. Oh, you mentioned one thing. Nobody seems to be that welcoming in the apocalypse. I mean, think about Rick gets wakes up from coma, and absolutely nobody he's met up with from the very beginning when he went back to his old house. He got a clock on the head.
Yeah.
To when he goes to Atlanta and meets the Vatos. To when every single group of people he's come upon have been violent and have constantly.
Yeah.
I guess that's how that'd be. But nobody's like, oh, it's so good having people. Thank God you're here. Oh, doctor, totally. You guys work together. Nobody has been like that.
I know. I guess. Is that realistic? I mean, my first thought was, of course not. You're scared, but I'm thinking, what if you just, put up a sign that said, need help here, come join us or something.
Yeah.
You're all good. I don't know. I guess eventually, well, we might see something like that next episode. I don't know.
Okay, that sounds great.
It seems like if there's no rule of law, then it's sort of survival of the fittest. And so if you are that kind of person, it's like, let's all work together, let's help many people, then you still have to watch out for other people who aren't like that, who want to dominate.
True, but what would happen if? I mean, it seems like Rick and the group would have been welcoming to any group that would have been welcoming to them.
Yeah, I mean, you have to consider too who's in a place that's good and who's coming to that place.
Right,
That makes a difference.
yeah.
Like now that Rick and company have this prison, what if innocent people came along? Then we would know. We would see whether they would be welcome.
Right. I guess that's like people were in lifeboats and they didn't want to go back and rescue people who were in water because they didn't want to go to it. I mean, it's not like real life. You want to
And the food, the resources are scarce, space and food.
That's one more conversation. Where are we? Oh, sorry, I did my number 3 was not prisoner killing.
Oh, you said all you said that. Okay. Number 2 is Rick. He's kind of pulling a couple chains in this episode. Show no mercy.
Yeah.
When Rick asked him what his options were for the prisoners, he just said kill him.
Yeah, that's
and
legit.
it turns out he didn't choose that. He's not yet with the last 2. So maybe he still has shades of himself. Yeah, maybe. But the most questionable one in my view was letting Andrew run off getting by his head.
Yeah. Which is what we were doing in the podcast, right?
Yes, yeah. Now I think it's pretty obvious that Andrew was colluding with Tomas. Is that his name?
Yeah,
Tomas.
it's Tomas.
Because I watched back again and right before Tomas goes and flings all those words in the Rick one. You look over at Andrew gave him a look.
Yeah.
But I don't think I saw Andrew pulling shenanigans. He might just not have time. The only thing he did was he sort of swing it right after he saw Rick bury his hatchet in Tomas' head. But you see somebody like your friend, you might freak out a little bit.
Yes,
Anyway, so I don't know. Then Rick runs after him and kills him basically. And that's I think that's the darkest thing you've ever seen him do. Leave him out there like that.
We know for sure he's torn apart little bits.
Yes, I mean we heard him screaming.
We heard screaming. We heard him.
Let's just say I put it in mind. I put it in mind. We don't know for sure, I guess. But I think so, yeah. And Rick left for it basically.
Right.
So that was pretty dark. He's not to the point where he's not a full chain yet. He wouldn't, I don't think, shoot T-Dog like to save himself.
No. And James kind of bananas and he was not a very nice guy.
I mean, yeah, there's 2 parts to chain. There's the part about, okay, we can't trust any strangers because, we have to protect each other. And that's the part that's most arguable. The part that really effed everything up was that he just sowed all this discord with the group, which is kind of unrelated. That just has ego and wanting to get off the part 2 is Rick's not also chain, and so one of them had to, we call it something or whatever.
Right, exactly.
He said submit, and Elon wanted to. And then one other thing that, no, that's all that sounds like.
That was actually my number 2 also. Well, in fact, it was on my top 5. The transformation of Rick. And it makes me, the only thing I'll say about that to it is that it makes me appreciate Rick anymore.
And yes, and Lincoln's acting really good too, I think.
Lincoln's acting. Oh,
Right?
so good.
Like, I especially like after he left Andrew out there and they spent a few moments with him just sort of processing it. Oh my god, did I do that?
Yep, exactly.
What if he just sort of But he's really good, I think.
He has.
Okay, and then number 1 thing I thought was kind of disturbing is I think it's the first time where they really killed humans in gory ways, not zombies. Rick buried an axe in Tomas' head. And Tomas like took a pick after that, big tiny head, several times. And then they backed off and showed his motion of skull and brain and stuff. Now, if they just had some cop show and that was in the first episode, it would be like pretty crazy. Like when Steve Young said in an interview that TV's never done some of the things they're doing. I think I don't know. We're sort of been eased into it with all the zombie violence and then you hardly notice.
Yeah, exactly. And this is the first time he killed a guy for basically threatening him.
Yeah, I don't blame him. He didn't threaten him. He tried to kill him. He threw a zombie on him. He put a swipe at him with his axe.
Oh, yeah,
yeah.
just in
Yes, I mean I don't blame him for that at all.
But that point we're just staring at each other.
Yeah, this is where I know a little bit. This is where I come out more on the chain kind of side.
Chain
If you just tried to kill me in the situation, I'm really
I gotta say, it's really helpful they wrapped up in one episode.
do you think it was too much for him to kill the guy? You should just let him over some
No, they hit the guy.
Yeah, that's what I think. See, you're not total tree hugger or whatever. Softies.
No, we are not. We are brutal. We are brutal.
So
Second one,
yeah,
my number 1 is actually not number 1 transformation of Rick. Number 2, what I mentioned is Carol Jackson delivering the zombie.
yeah, good stuff.
Yeah,
Smart.
although maybe not the exact same thing, delivering a non-existent zombie.
I just wanted to make sure if she had to do a C-section.
She did, yeah, not get skinned up, which figures approximately the same as
Yeah, so she did choose one that was almost as skinny as Lori. So
She chose well, and I love the fact that to get the zombies on the other side of the fence, Glenn had to sort of distract them.
Yeah.
And they were kind of like puppies. And he was like, come here, and he like ran back along the fence, and they were like, hey, thanks for ran that.
I don't like cows. I got a rancher in that one.
Just to screw
Like,
around.
let's see if we get these cows running. Why would I have not yet like over here? Like, last 10 seconds. Like, oh, you're doing. So now this happened. Carol did you offer to kill that zombie yourself instead of like Will you let her
Oh yeah, much so. The last episode I've been like, okay, I see Carol's role. She's not the sort of like, oh, she's doing in season 2 in they were the last Sophia. No, she's a mourning mother. She's unbelievably worried about Sophia. All that's understandable. She would have had me, but it's kind of understandable. She's lost
Kind of, yeah.
So she was doing a lot of like, I'm just looking at the trailer or the good RVs or next to things like that. Yeah, really that's energy. But now she's spending her energy in very practical ways, and she's becoming a big help. And it's good to have backup because as you saw, Ursula did. So
I just want if I ever lose, we're losing Carol. I'm definitely practical. So don't worry. I'm trying to do it.
thank you. And I just want to because zombie apocalypse doesn't mean you ever have to stop learning.
That's yeah,
Your
definitely.
education
You learn faster.
can continue. That's public message from your friendly local podcast. Never stop learning.
Okay, let's see. I want to go over a few notes too.
I thought it was sweet when Max was saying Virgil. Lauren
Yeah,
was really
she's
good.
good. I think she's been really especially good in scenes with him.
Yes, yeah, I agree.
I mean, when I interviewed her after that, and she did really good acting with him.
Yeah.
Lots of shelter.
By the way, my favorite zombie moment was when the handcuffed zombie takes off its own hand to take its skeleton hand out of
Oh
the
yeah.
handcuffs.
That's what, yeah, they're new cool disgusting things
Yes,
to do.
I appreciate
I was thinking about it and I thought it was interesting that up until now, a lot of the characters' worst times might have been off screen because, like for example, everyone except for Rick and the Greens, we don't get to see the start of the zombie apocalypse and before they find the camp. Imagine there's probably a lot of chaos and killing and stuff during that time. And then during this winter, they don't have any shelter, right?
Right.
So all of season 2 in a way, it's like, oh, let's just show them the time they have the easiest.
Yeah, exactly.
But now that they're in, now that they're out of the farm, we're seeing some real crap. And I think that this actually works great. We did see all the farm seasons like this before, but she does a big contrast. It's obviously worse than what they were started by the other side of things.
Right.
Those are for it.
Yes, good times. Who do you think is watching Carol perform her zombie C-section from the bushes?
I think it's.
Or
Well,
she would say who predicted.
was it inside the fence or outside the fence?
Maybe that's the fence. I
I
don't know.
can't tell from. I don't remember.
Somebody's watching Carol. I'm not
I
sure.
guess my question is, were they outside the fence? That makes it if they're inside the fence, and then maybe it's another person who we haven't seen yet, which I kind of hope. But if they were outside the fence, then it's probably somebody who
Our live chat people.
everyone thinks it's Morley. But yeah, it could be. I mean, one reason why I hesitate to think it's Morley is he just doesn't seem like a sneaky type. He just march up there and go, hey,
I don't know.
look at you guys.
He has an axe to grind.
Yeah. Okay, so Rick says as far as I can see, at least half the population is white guys. So to me, it looks closer to like 99%.
We got around Rick.
I like that Rick put the cuffs on Herschel and nobody really questioned it.
Yeah.
You know, he's making snap decisions. It's smart. It's large.
He's
It's smart. He's smart things sometimes. I mean, I also like to do cliche board things that's sort of like people giving Herschel mouth. Good for that. Somebody wants to.
Can I ask real quick? So if everybody's infected, Herschel's already infected, right?
Yeah.
So a zombie bite does what exactly? Does it kill you?
There are some emails about this week. This person's been asking about this, and since you brought it up, I'll go ahead and skip to the email section right now. So this is from Eric. Just listening to your most recent podcast and the comment about amputation and infection in the bloodstream. Just want to clarify from both the comments and show that it's not the bite that causes the transformation, but the actual death of a person. Remember, everyone's already infected. Everyone who dies for any reason will reanimate as a zombie except for the brain is damaged or destroyed. When bitten, it can cause you bleed out or get an infection, which is almost always fatal. Characters speculated that so far there's been no test until now for Herschel's leg. So basically, he's saying that biting doesn't do anything but kill you as any bite would, and they're just worried about dying in any way. Like zombies, that's what he's saying, right? But I firmly believe that biting or being scratched can somehow speed up that process.
Can hasten the zombie
Yeah,
transformation?
yes, I think biting turns you. I really want to believe that, especially if it's not too narrow, but that thing really doesn't mean much.
Right,
But there's several reasons why that's true. I'll tell you what you said.
So maybe we're all infected through like airborne pathogen, and maybe we get bit that's a saliva or
Yeah.
a bloodborne pathogen,
Yeah.
and maybe that combined with airborne pathogen is enough to create the zombie transformation.
I mean, that's a sort of a pseudoscience explanation, which is could be valid, probably analogous to some kind of condition, right? But for story purposes, basically, if you die turning a zombie, if you get bit, turning a zombie faster. That's what I think. And reason why I mean, for one thing, they chop off Herschel's leg.
Yeah.
Now, if a bite only caused you to die normally the way you normally would by any bite, then they could take a little time to deal with that. They wouldn't be in such a hurry to chop off his leg. Right? That's what you're saying. Now, Jim got bitten. He wasn't it was relatively minor. I think. I mean, it was bad, but I don't think it would have killed him.
No.
You know, but they showed him turning. They didn't actually show him turn the zombie flashes.
Yeah.
That's why I said that's what they're using to show that someone's turning.
Right.
That's just I don't think a bite infected bite like that would kill you in a day.
Right.
Also, if they're gonna kill like this big tiny guy just because he got scratched, that doesn't make sense. So I really think that at the very least, the characters think that getting bitten does something. I would argue that Jim's episode proves that it does. And either way, I just think it's story-wise because it's sort of like they just don't want to die because they're going to turn. No, you want them to fear that the zombies are going to scratch or bite them. You know, it's more
Right,
that way.
yeah.
So why not that way?
Right, yeah,
I don't know for sure.
Interesting.
That's my take on that.
Maybe has any other insights? Let us know.
A couple things. I just thought it's interesting how different things are from the second season of the series. That's when Rick kind of eulogized a zombie. He doesn't do that anymore.
Okay, right. I forgot about that.
This person now is like, Captain doesn't even care about
Is
him.
that what? Do I remember correctly? But it's involved.
Yeah, I kind of last podcast I thought, oh, it looks like this is the first time Rick's ever seen the prison when Daryl came on. But when I watched it again, I noticed that Daryl said shame and shook his head, and Rick had this 5 year term because maybe they had seen it before.
And he ruled it out.
Yes.
They thought it was uncomfortable.
Maybe they were just now they're like, let's freaking go for
Yeah.
it. Well, no, I'm asking Nicole to eat. Come on, I'll tell you.
Nice.
And then last thing is no Adrian Jones. I thought we'd see them, but it looks like we'll see them.
I didn't see anything. And I think they had to establish what was going on with Herschel's leg and taking over the rest of the prison. So now, pretty much the prison is quote unquote safe, and so there'll probably be a couple down days in which to focus on.
Yeah, and I wonder, like in the first episode, they went back and forth a little bit. This episode was no Adrian Jones. Next episode, we'll not get any of the normal cast.
Maybe just was it Mayberry?
Maybe, yeah. Okay, so we want.
Yeah.
Okay, let's move on to news. First thing, AMC is back on Dish. Did you know that?
Yes,
yeah.
I saw posted.
Just that Sunday, they're like, hey, we're on Dish time for next episode of Walking Dead.
Oh my god, that's such good news for the portable industry.
So they said Dish is paying $700 million to Cablevision and AMC networks.
Lord, that's
And,
funny.
yeah, I'm not going to tell you details, but the important thing is that it's all settled up. And
Hooray.
there's no, I didn't see any word on whether AMC still camping get Dish customers switch over to another service had any effect on this whole thing. You think there's an equal chance that might be more.
Yeah, exactly. I can tell you that
Yes, I know. They really, I thought it was interesting. I never seen anything like that before.
Yeah, it seemed yeah, it seemed pretty cool. Okay.
It's almost Steve Jobs, you know, he can stuff like that once in a while. Okay, just briefly, I played the Telltale Walking Dead episode 4 on a corner called Used to Die. I love every episode of this game. I love how each one's kind of different from the next. There's only one more left, and I'm excited to play it, but sad that it's going to be over.
Are you playing people now? So you
No, it's not that bad. It's not like that MD game. It freaks me out to play it.
MD around the time, yeah.
Okay, there's an interview with Norman Reedus with Daryl on comicbookresearch.com. He says, unfortunately, I have to do a lot of scenes with Melissa McBride. She said, good actress, definitely one of the strongest I've ever worked with. She says a lot of her face, and I really like that in actors' subtleties instead of crying or trying not to cry. I think that's almost more sad. She can really these little beats and things when you're playing something like that. It just makes you look better. I just like to hear him saying nice things about her.
I know, me too. I like to do better.
Yes, totally. That's all that one. This is from an interview on Amble.com with Glenn Zara. They say, with the time jump from season 2 until now, is there any chance we're going to get to see what happened between then and now? He says the time jump was necessary for 2 reasons. One, we wanted to advance the story where Lori is no giving birth. We feel tremendous amount of pressure on the group. We felt that applied to maximum pressure. Okay, that's one thing. 2 is just production-wise, we got shooting summer. We didn't feel that it would be possible to try and fake winner. I am interested in shooting winner sometime. And perhaps if we change the production schedule in a future season, I think that would be interesting. This time I felt it was worthwhile to have the time jump and let the audience try to catch up. I will say I'm not interested in going back to doing flashback episodes about what happens to Screw and how they got there. You're seeing the story we want to tell, the most docile part of the farm. You know, we have a great story for season 3 we're excited about. So I think we picked the right entry point and stories about moving forward. So that answers a few things that listeners for one have been asking whether they show flashback, probably not. And but I'm wondering if they do winter maybe. So I hope they do. That'd be cool.
Yeah, and I'm also glad that I let the flash forward.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, I think it was good. Yeah, totally. Okay, from here on out, the news gets a little bit more spoilery.
Before you want, can I ask you a question? Did they ever flash forward, or was it absolutely
Forward?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, they
Did it jump forward?
No, forward.
Sorry, did it jump forward? Oh,
Yeah. Okay, so this is okay, like I said, from here on out, the news gets a little bit spoilerish. Just for those who are like super spoiler-verse, no like big shocking reveals, but just other things about the head scene. So if you don't like that kind of stuff, move on to the next section.
Move on.
Some see here. So, do you want to see it? This is from Andrew Parker on Entertainment.com. They say, you said before that you planned on killing Herschel last season, changed your mind. How did you change your mind back this week? Yeah, we really like. He says, yeah, we really like not killing Herschel. Love getting close, but we really going to not killing that guy. So
Yeah.
They say this is the first time the TV show has established that cutting off infected them can stop the virus spreading, right? He says, yeah, exactly. That's definitely an element that's been brought into the comic books. That scene actually happened in the comic books with the character that wasn't Herschel. One of the thoughts behind the scene was that a lot of time passed between seasons, so maybe it's something they haven't necessarily done before. That's something that over the course of the winter maybe they talk about. So I forgot last week when I was kind of dissing on that cutting off someone's leg wouldn't stop the zombie bite or whatever. That they didn't comment it was bail later on.
Oh, look it up.
Like, and I asked Amy about this. My wife who's a doctor, and she doesn't have any like specific zombie, but she said that she thought like a snake bite or certain bites with venom, it would infect your system almost instantaneously, and so that probably wouldn't help. But if it's the kind where she said some kind of bites are where like gangrene spreads out from the bite, that it would be much slower. So that could be something.
Right.
She said if she was in that situation, she would chop his leg off. So that makes me feel better about that, and not do other things. This is from an interview with Scott Wilson with Herschel on NTV.com. They said, we found that Herschel was going to get my walker in the first episode. We worried that was going to get for him. He says, when the told me you were going to chop my leg off, of course my first thought was, oh, there I go. But just the opposite. He said you want someone with a disability. And I understand that. When you look at all veterans from Iraq and Afghanistan and lost limbs, it makes sense that someone would have that as an issue. It's also very interesting. Herschel's the first one to survive a bite. The question I think for Herschel is whether he's going to become liability for the group is going to be very slow. I think he said he was no, he's not better. He's better than me. But anyway, that's interesting.
I think attach like a little bit too with Ash. They gave him a machine gun for not machine. They shot him for arm.
It'll be hard.
Yeah, he's like.
You're still listening to jokes. You read all the Facebook comments.
I didn't know.
Oh, you didn't know.
No.
Same thing.
Well, they're two of my favorites.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, fortunate. This is from an interview with Andrew Lincoln at CLBI.com. How's Rick doing as leader? Is anyone questioning this season? He says, I think he's proven himself. No one's died. Problem is the fact that mom and pop don't speak. There's a huge rift. They're dying emotionally. No one's telling any questions. Leadership was necessary tool to get them to survive. Everybody realizes he's man of the job. Killing Shane was necessary. He will get the right guy leading the group. The thing about it is they will always lead to the weakest link. Or Shane was not a bad opinion. He said we keep the strong kind of weak. And that's one of Rick's enduring strengths in his humanity, but it's also his weakness. And then you need the governor. Shane's policy is where the governor's at. It's what would happen to Shane to be a little bit further down the line. That's kind of the big spoiler in the new section that the governor's like Shane if he kept on going and more power and stuff.
I think it's a good thing.
Well, that's Herschel now.
Yeah, I think
right? I say Beth is
Number
pretty close. Yeah.
Yeah.
Those two. Maybe on day 1 it's called, but not
Not
anymore.
anymore. Tell me.
Yeah. Okay, that's the news like right this morning. Stay with us.
Say it.
right, let's move on to Before we start, I thought, okay, I want to know who you thought was going to die first. We didn't never say on the podcast.
I never made a prediction.
You didn't want to?
No, I didn't even give it a thought.
Oh,
Yeah. No,
good
no.
one.
You know what I like this.
Okay, so I thought it was going to be Herschel because they weren't showing Herschel in previews that much, and now I think they were doing that. Well, because he would miss, like, also they just wanted to keep it a mystery maybe, so that you might think he was a goner.
Maybe this season will die.
Yeah, that would make this contest kind of like our what did Jenner say? We have one other last episode to find out. I think some people think it's gonna be bad now, but I would lost because I would totally guess Herschel.
Yeah. Oh, I was going to do Carl. This is for me. Man, I love the mirror. It's just so good for some reasons. I just like to see them. There's two things in the future. One, the whole they smell dead. We don't think. That person must reek. Then again, our heroes are looking for themselves these days. Maybe they don't know anymore, which is just so important. Two, how do guys in my career get bit? Can't imagine they starve themselves to death full right here. But you know what? I don't care. The fictional role was positive test in a very best possible way. I'm just going to enjoy good TV.
How do you guys write your bit?
I don't know. Thanks,
Oh,
man.
mosquitoes. I don't know. Pothole.
That's what I don't know.
I'm just gonna say pothole. That's my first
We're
thing.
just going to enjoy good TV. Thanks for writing.
Okay, this was from Justin. He said, and Daniel, so he says, when your sisters wrote in, one of your sisters wrote in about seeing more cigarettes in an episode. The writers might be big X-Files fans, but more cigarettes have been used in over 50 different shows and movies, such as Buffy the Vampire Slayer, Spike Smokes Movies,
Wow.
Lost in One Episode of Roses Holy Magazine, More Leonard and the Van Dyke Show, which is the release Movies in 1961. It's very similar to the Wilhelm scream, which is a sound effect that's been used in over 200 movies.
Wow.
Yeah, we can do that kind of stuff.
The Wilhelm scream.
Even though it was on Dick Van Dyke, I still think it's X-Files. I don't know.
Yes, you believe it.
No, that's cool. So then he says, why do you think the first episode was called Seed? The only connection I can think of is Lori's pregnancy.
They talk about ending that
Seeds,
40s.
yeah, that was the only thing. Also, it's the first episode of Mazara's New Era, and it's like the seed for the rest of the series.
Oh my God, that's
I think there's something to that. I can see he wrote it too. Mazara wrote it. Like, you're playing the seed, you guys keep doing it like this. If it's funny, what does the guy do to mention at the end of the show where you say, don't get bit if it's ridiculously long, email and human. We usually don't mention it again. I'm sure
I don't know what you're talking about this.
Okay, let's move on.
Thanks for writing this. This is Kent from Kentucky. Kent writes my top 5 for sick. Carol is the one who rescued the fence after they got her Zed collaboration with. That can't end well. The shot of Herschel's leg being left behind gross and awesome. I love the taking no shit rip by giving Tomas a new part in his hairline and then meeting Andrew to walk her lunch. TV is gone, comic is here. Sweet. Carl got Carol actually useful. Who knew? And the prison style beatdown is complete with shanking. If I wasn't enough, the look at these idiots live on TV and Daryl's faces was awesome. Probably the only time I actually laughed out loud at this most grisly show.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah, I do too.
It's good body language.
Yeah.
But I also thought that they were like, you know, they die right now. I guess that's all right. Just let them do it.
Thanks for writing.
And this next one's one I already read about bikes and stuff.
Okay, this is from Justin then. Justin says the show is so goddamn good. My one gripe is zombies smart enough to rip off his hand to get someone. I do love seeing just peel off. They great.
I don't think it takes much smarts to do that.
It just
If you have handcuffs on, you reach for something real hard.
I just got you. Check it out. I have free now. And look, it's free of this annoying.
Yeah, and that stupid penny does a nice sharp claw.
Right, and it's good for
Punch her in
drawing
the flesh.
big tiny back.
Big Tony's the name of it.
Right, it's sweet.
Yeah, they should get Fat Tony, Big Tony, T-Dog over here. This is from John. I rewatched episode 1. Did Carl say something about storage lockers? Kind of reminded me of the website about you. You know, somebody else said something about that. Carl said something about storage lockers in episode 1, and I didn't catch it either. Weird, ignorant. But what did you say? I mean, was referring to the website? That was didn't make sense that they had photos in the storage locker.
Right. Matt writes in, says, last episode was called Sick, and that's exactly what it was. Sick. 5 out of 5 for me. I can't believe it. Like,
I know, it's cool. Everyone.
I can't believe that they just off make like that 5 down 2 and like 5 down 2 and like Rick killing Tomas without a shade. The head was amazing. I literally shouted Tom Holland. Then to get Andrew in that area and how he felt. And Big Tiny so quickly, and Big Tiny so quickly. It was an action-packed episode. I love seeing Rick turn into this feelings numb character to do just what is needed to be done to protect the group. Going down that hole is going to be fun and great to watch this season. Yeah, away.
I'm going to do this right now.
Yeah, true that.
This is from Mr. Black. He says, my Tuesday morning would get shelled at usual glory without getting in the car, getting playing the phone, and hearing girls say, fuck yeah, another walking dead. Turn that shit up, daddy. I don't think you've done your podcast, by the way. It's so long.
I love it. His Tuesday morning would be a shell usual glory. But I'm referring to his sweet little girls who are so nice. Really hard. It's really hard to say fuck yeah. Finish up, daddy.
Let's do the last. Let's do these episodes.
Okay.
You want to
I will.
These reactions, more reactions to the episode.
Tori writes Carl taking back mom. Lol.
Y'all fall back.
Yeah.
Gary says, Rick in the yard, each welders are feeding to zombies. It's true. They appreciate it.
Great. Tim writes, I love it. I do approve how they are evolving Carl's character so far. That is.
John says, yeah, I will do mouth to mouth on the zombie.
Jeff writes, Rick says that Lori's in Batman, whereas where's Carl? Infirmary. Wow, Lori, I thought you were supposed to be watching.
And it says, did I miss something or was Herschel trying to make up Lori? Yes, I heard that reputation.
Yeah,
there's a chance.
Tim writes, how many times has Rick broken his? We don't kill the rule. I don't mind him breaking it, and that's why it's warranted. He was in every episode unless you were
He does that in the comics. He like says it until somebody has that same issue. Gary says, Rick won that photo.
Sean says, love how they changed it up just enough so those will be comics start guessing too. I don't get receipts.
Totally agree with that. Yeah, they changed it a lot. Just says, didn't see transformation of Rick in the first season, now he's badass.
Right. After dealing with Shane's crap for too long, I really wish to him with the guy that ripped that in the butt. He did rip that in the butt. Is that okay?
I don't think so. Chuck says, didn't watch, but let me guess. A group of survivors spend an hour killing running from zombies with Herschel dramatizing zombies together, right? No, there's outer conflict.
And it was only about 42 minutes. And commercials. Chuck, smart pants. Jim writes, Carol's role as nurse, aside from all we've ever known of her history and observation of battle rifles, becoming Lori's nurse and Herschel's project. I hadn't considered the possibility of C-section, which now sounds inevitable. I think they're probably parallel about Carol losing her baby and really wanting to help Lori to survive. I mean, yeah, doing the hours to practice. Dedication, self-DAD, dedication. And I thought I was, I personally suspect in zombie apocalypse we see a lot more beard and long hair. But I seeing more T-Dog has made me wonder, how does he keep his head shape so clean every day? I wouldn't imagine fresh razor chafing around his scouting list. Maybe he uses Nair. Maybe he's vegetable.
Could be, or he sharpens or restricts.
Shit, he's a really
I wonder about that. I mean, I think they probably did is he just looks best that way.
Natural.
I read that Herschel, Scott Wilson, he just decided to leave his hair growing over the season break and liked it and kept it. Kind of asked anyway. Does look good. Jason says, I thought when Rick told Lori, don't get me wrong, you're a great mom, she's bad, but you need to be better around Carl. Otherwise, we're episode of that prisoner issue and hang over their heads too long. No, there's still a prisoner issue. It's not the same issue.
Right, Herschel's Blake stuff in the like as a group. The prisoner asking what I thought. Yeah, that was a great one.
Cody Lee says, more or less personally hero.
Yeah, that's probably personally
I say it's not real. I'm guessing right now. I totally that's not real.
You might start shaping some life things are really about me. I thought they were better than that. It really holds with me. Now, I gotta tell you, I did see that earlier today. This one. And I'm like, no, you actually probably research these things.
That's what Jenny says.
Yeah,
I think she was just reading this.
She's nice. She's just calling us. She's a good way. You all like it.
Definitely. Victor says, great episode. Looks like you're setting Carl for something big later in the season. I don't know if it's that. Yeah, you're probably right. Detest all this new badass stuff.
I love it.
Rick Herschel's in full effect and taking no prisoners. Get it? About Carl, I do like the way that they've built and everything, but I hope that he doesn't turn into like Wesley Crusher. Did you watch it?
Of course I did.
Yeah, where he just becomes so like safe everywhere.
I love Wesley Crusher. I was not here.
Well, I wasn't totally either, but after a while, I just really tired of him, the little kid saving everybody all the time. I mean,
He can save everybody all the time.
he saved everybody episode after episode. I'm not saying he wasn't cute or likable. I'm just saying that have a little kid be the one that saves everybody alive after a while, and then it starts to become a thing.
By the way, he was on Talking Dead last night after the show.
What's the question?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Also known as his real name, which is Logan, and he's still freaking adorable.
You can still like him, and you don't have to agree. One could still like him and agree that wouldn't be good if Carl ends up saving everybody every week.
Yeah, okay. All right. Yeah.
I wouldn't like
Nice
that.
to meet you. Right. La covering yours. Gonna have snake. Michelle
says there are moments when I found myself thinking that's cold, really cool. But I understand his decisions. Just not sure if I call them. I love how Rick, Daryl, and T-Dog are really tight unit. They're able to communicate silently with each other, and their disdain for the prisoners was good too. Yeah, and seeing Maggie and Herschel was beautiful. Anyone who had loved one was ill to relate that scene. I thought they were really having tears.
Actually, really good.
Yeah, he was good at slaying there too. Did you notice that his voice sounded like a zombie? He was reading some of the zombie at some point.
Well, in that Talking Dead, one little trivia facts they projected on during Infinite World was that the actress actually fell asleep.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was really cool. Yeah,
Well, this is Herschel breathing. That's right, Carol.
okay, where are we? Damn it, Carol's going to be first. I guess I lose after all.
Oh, right.
Okay, hey, you're Mike.
Terrell says, why did they put a machine gun on Herschel's leg like it was yelling right now? So
See? And I said, you look too. So there's traditional weapons in
yeah,
this.
he's a weapon. I'll take X. Oh, he can get a garden.
Oh my God, that's perfect. Gracie from Miami says, delicious, one episode.
JK is another episode that should have been titled "Shit Happens." Rather than say, "Because there was selfish transformation into the dark side of the himself." The conversation with Lori at the end of the extended arm and pound back while able to contact, really acting right. Totally.
Loved it. Tom, right, the person who loves this dark contrast we read in this episode. 1 minute, he's looking with complete success on a prisoner, and the next he's smiling, holding her hand. Really shows that there are many layers to him. I'll say.
And then I got this. I was reading on the club, and the commenters are clever on this guy. He goes, "I said, those things that were wrong about now includes a unique math justification to a couple zombie and D raging malice in the
It's been great.
But yeah, that's it for your feedback. Thanks so much, guys. Always love that. Now it's time for comic Jane Mark. If you haven't read a comic and you don't want to potentially be spoiled on something, you might want to skip this section. But I think it's pretty interesting. So take it away, Jane.
Hey everybody, this is Jane back for some more comic comparisons for you from this week's episode. And boy, we have a bunch of time. The TV show has definitely some big deviations and quite interesting as well. First thing I noticed is we got a missing prisoner. My first thing in the comic, we have a little guy with tax evasion, little swirl with bell glasses, who ends up going on a murderous rampage, killing all of them. He was missing from this episode. We'll start out maybe that storyline in the TV show. I understand why. It's kind of a little more graphic than the show on TV. But we did get an awesome prisoner, Axel. They never said his name, but I watched both captions and he got listed as Axel several times. He's the guy with the big bushy mustache. So it's a little different in the comic, but he's a very lovable character that I think the TV fans are definitely enjoy. We did the freezer scene, which we had in the comic, they all crafting and being in the freezer for 10 months now, and we're done nicely baseball with that, which was quite amazing to watch. The most personal was when you take the place of being the one person being bitten by a zombie and surviving. It seemed to work out. He survived this episode, so my next attack, I still think that's the person being cast to die. You also got a nice little preview into Caroline medical training now, which we didn't get in the comic. So Carol's gonna be more useful now. I think there's a lot of fans complaining that she didn't really have a reason to be around. So that's a nice little thing I think the showrunners have done for all people complaining about that. Next thing was pretty cool. The first prisoner in cell block. Now in the comic, the prisoner found a bunch of guns and then ended up releasing zombies from cell block because a massive riot of gore and chaos, which ended up with the alpha prison guy getting killed by Rick. Now in this one, we get a nice mixing of them posting in instructions, basically fighting zombie prison lifestyle, trying to shake them and kill them all down. And it was absolutely hilarious watching them go out screaming, trying to do that with Rick T-Dog and Daryl saying, watching, what the hell is wrong with these guys? So it's going to Rick killing the prisoner. All the different reasons, the guy tried to kill him a few times. So they give more of a reason here, as opposed to just asking to leave the prison in the comic book. Just like after when he's killed in the comic, one of the guys runs off, and the comic he just kind of ran out of the gates and never seen him again. We assume he's dead. This time he runs to the prison and we have to go after him and make sure they don't have this missing prisoner, they won't kill him, hiding out somewhere. So a little bit different thing about them. One of the new twists is to get Carol practicing medical skills on a zombie. Now when she and Gwen after they're going to bring a zombie into the prison's high up study like a comic, which Carol eventually kills herself with. But practicing strength section makes a lot of sense and it's kind of a cool twist. And at the same time, we find someone watching Carol from outside prison, which they never even hinted at the comic, so I have no idea what that's doing. Jason takes that someone Woodbury. I think it makes someone like to be in prison to fill that stereotypical role. It's really hard to tell. I didn't know there's much to go on. Another thing that was a new little twist is the difference between Rick and Morty. They didn't really do that in the comic, but it makes a lot of sense after what she put Rick through. So it's a nice new twist to give us a new direction for the story. But the basic idea of this is they went through a lot of storylines in the comic really fast in this episode, which makes me think they actually finished the entire prison storyline into one season of shooting. I hope they don't, because I think prison deserves more time. But it's only going to, to keep up the pace for the entire season. That's why maybe slowing down a little bit next episode so we can get the next episode this time. That's all I've got for this week, guys. So until next week, don't forget that.
All right, thanks, Jane. Now we're back to time for next week.
Next episode is called Walk With Me, and the description is after witnessing an accident, Andrea and Michonne are introduced to a new community of survivors. As conflicts rise with their new acquaintances, a decision must be made. So it's multiple licensing Andrea and Michonne episode.
We watched a couple of the preview videos, so if you don't want to hear anything that is in there, then skip to the end segment.
Yeah. But it's written by Evan Riley and it's directed by Guy Flynn.
Evan Riley wrote Nebraska. That's our favorite scene.
Yeah,
So,
I like that one. And Guy Flynn, he's directed episodes before, right? He sounds really familiar.
I'm going to try to get Evan on next week. We'll see.
Evan, if you listen to this, come on.
True.
We'll interview.
Okay, well, so did you watch those videos?
I did.
One of them showed Andrea and Michonne walking around with her two pets.
Yep, and following a giant fire and walking across the corn
which is
field.
probably the accident.
Right, exactly. A helicopter accident, it was like.
Yep.
And was that in the comic?
Yes.
Interesting. Very
And the other one
interesting.
was just,
Is the helicopter over in
I don't know. There was no helicopter over there in the comic, I don't think. But I assume that it's at least one of the governors' helicopters. I don't know, but I'm just thinking, probably something like that.
I'm enjoying this video.
But yeah, and the other little short preview showed very short clips, all taking place with Andrea and Michonne, the governors. So we're getting a fresh new environment, new actors next week. Yeah, it's good to have this back and forth because the prison has the potential to get stale. Yeah, so it's so far not like the episodes are fine, but it's going to be different next time.
Agreed.
Ready to close it out?
I am.
Right, that's episode 75. Thanks for listening, everybody.
Thanks, everybody.
We have a lot more listeners now that the show started, so welcome, you guys. I'm stoked.
If this is the first time you're listening to us, thanks for listening.
Yeah,
Appreciate
really right in.
it. No, you're right. And if you're writing to us from England, be sure to call in and just say anything at all.
Yeah, I didn't say that. If you're listening from somewhere outside the States, call in. Oh, no, it's very easy to call in from outside the States. If you can, call in. Or write in. Yeah, record yourself and send us an audio file. We'd love to hear from you.
We sure would.
Anyway, I want to thank Jane Walker for the comic book section. You heard the music for that. You can find the music by searching